So welcome to part 2 of the Astavakra Gita, and these were recorded quite some time ago, and in this one I'm actually very unwell, but I still felt like recording it, so I did. And here you are, Astavakra Gita part 2. Let's enjoy it together. Welcome to a continuation of the reading of the Astavakra Gita, the song of Ashtravakra, who was a sage. And I just want to remind you, we're not here to do an intellectual discourse. This is not a university course program. We're not going to look at the context of these works and who wrote them and why and when, etc., etc. We're just going to extract the direct power from the words through my understanding of it and how I've applied it in my life. And I hope that's going to be of benefit to you. I feel it's more beneficial than the intellectual approach because the actual meaning of the words can become a fixation from a time and place, where what we're doing here is we're liberating these words into our current realm. And the difference with an actual non-dual teaching and non-dual history is a non-dual teaching adjusts for the time when it is heard. It is a fluid process that can find its way to impart its power in the here and now. So let's do that. We'll begin where we left off. Right and wrong, pleasure and pain exist only in the mind. They are not your concern. You neither do nor enjoy. You are free. So I just laugh when I read these texts. So now we'll go through it. Right and wrong, pleasure and pain. So let's take this to mean all extremes. He could have gone on here. Hot and cold, light and dark, good and bad, big and small. They exist only in the mind. What this means is that all appearances, no matter what they are, appear as objects within consciousness described by consciousness. So they have no inherent existence. It's like if you're watching a movie, within the context of the movie, there's right and wrong. A good person is being hurt by a bad person, and the bad person is causing the good person pain. Okay? So within the context of the movie, the good and bad, right and wrong exist, and we sit on the edge of our seats and we watch the movie. But in the context of the screen on which the movie's played out, there is no absolute right and wrong. There's just the dynamic energy of the screen. There is no pleasure and pain. There's just the dynamic energy of the screen. In this metaphor, the screen represents consciousness or awareness, for another word. And the activity of life plays out on this conscious screen. It plays out as this conscious screen. In the same way you can't separate the movie from the screen. How can you do that? Right? You can't separate the appearances from consciousness. They are one and the same. This is what non-duality means, is they're not identical, but they're not two. They're inseparable parts of a whole that is inseparable itself. So it's a paradox. It's non-duality. It's not oneness and it's not two-ness. It's two aspects of one thing shining forth, the movie and the screen. But without each other, there is no movie, and without the movie, the screen becomes invisible. So the metaphor ends there because you can obviously go and see a screen, but you can't see awareness without objects upon which awareness awares. But the objects cannot exist without the luminous light of awareness. So they're not two, they're the same thing. So in reality, in the finite nature of your own mind, in the finite analysis, right and wrong, pleasure and pain only exist as objects of the mind. Now this is one of the biggest points of contention with non-duality in our modern world, which they didn't have the problem then, of spiritual bypassing. And spiritual bypassing is someone comes to you and says, my puppy died, and you say, well, it didn't exist. There is no puppy. There is no alive or dead puppy. It only exists in your mind. That's quite a vicious form of bullying. And that is not what a true spiritual teacher would say. That's someone that's read this text or books like it and has misunderstood the content deeply. What I would say, if someone came to me with that, is I would comfort them as I would any other friend. The invitation is to look at it from a non-dual perspective. It's not the instruction. So they might hear some of my talks and say, you know, last year when my puppy died, I started to realize that as much as I loved that puppy and as much as it was sad that it died, I realized that the pain that it expressed was only in my mind. It was my attachment to the puppy that caused me suffering. I have another puppy now, and I care for it dearly. And when it dies, I will be in a stronger position to support my children who love the puppy. Because I can also see, yes, it's sad the puppy died, but I see the other part of its existence, which is non-dual, in that it never truly exists in its own right. So understanding this is understanding the dampening effect that non-duality, the reality of non-duality, has on your life. It's not a philosophy, it's how things actually are. They dampen the pain in your life. They also reduce the sporadic highs of pleasure. So the pleasure of eating a pizza, the pleasure of making love, all of these things are momentarily reduced, but in actuality they're not reduced. It's just that the pleasure of knowing oneself is so great compared to these isolated incidents that they are subsumed by a greater order of pleasure. So you stop seeking them in ways that could be harmful. You still indulge, you still eat nice things, you still have beautiful love-making sessions, you still go to parties and dance and socialize, but they are outshone by the magnificence of your own knowing of yourself. They are deprioritized in your life, but you still partake. It just no longer has a festering hunger or an insatiable desire. So things that you may be doing will fall away, and things that you may be avoiding will come into play. If you're someone that's been very scared to go on a stage, knowing that there isn't any pain, it's only in your mind, empowers you to play on stage while you feel shy and nervous. I still feel affected when I play music, but it doesn't stop me doing it. That's the difference. I still have cravings for unhealthy foods, but they don't control me, because my knowledge of myself produces a pleasure when that circuit completes that outshines other pleasures. And same with pain. I never feel depressed or sad or alone or any of these things. They don't arise, but even when they were arising, they would arise as awareness, abide as awareness, and subside as awareness. And the more that you recognize this, abiding, rising, abiding, subsiding, the less you feel they have any value. I describe it like if you're walking through a desert and it's really hot and hot sand, and at the top of every dune there's an oasis, and you're going this way and there's these dunes of oases here, and you climb up an oasis, you get to the top and you go, it's a mirage again. And you come back down and you go along and you see another one. I'm going to go and get that water. You climb up that dune, you get to the top, and it's a mirage again. How many more of these expenders of energy will you do before you realize they're all mirages? And that's what happens to pleasure and pain. The same if on the other side of the road there's scary dragons that make you run and exhaust your energy that way. And you realize whenever that dragon catches you, it doesn't do anything. And in fact, if you turn and look at it, it goes away. So this is I just made this up, but this is like the dragon of pain and the oasis of pleasure are both equally fictitious, which gives you the option to stay on your path if you wish, or if you wish to engage in the dragon or have more fun with the oasis, you can. But you're also not compelled to, because they're seen through. And that's what he says here. I know it's a lot for just one short line. It's not even the complete sentence, but there's so much in these texts. They're so rich with wisdom. It's mind-boggling. So right and wrong, pleasure and pain exist only in the mind. They are not your concern. So who is the you're he's talking to? Right? He's talking to awareness. He's evoking your God state. Right? By saying to you, they are not your concern, awareness. They are the concern of the finite mind. What should I do today? Do those people like me? Where will I get pleasure today? Oh, I really want the cake, but I can't because I'm diabetic, but I want one. Oh, I hope she likes me. She's really pretty. Maybe she doesn't. Or he's really good looking, or he's really fun. Maybe he doesn't like me. I'm not going to get any pleasure there. I don't want to go to work today. It's the boring day when we have to do accounting. Oh, I can't wait to go to the pub after work and have a drink. We're constantly being drawn and into this game of trying to find pleasure and avoid pain. It's even taught in the motivational schools, where people like Anthony Robbins teach you that, follow this, avoid pain and follow pleasure. So write down all the painful things about not doing your business and write down all the pleasurable things about doing your business. Now, these are great strategies for someone living in separateness. When you want to thrive in separateness, you use these skills to build your businesses, become a doctor, become a musician, become a dancer, find your loved one, etc., etc. But these are not the root of happiness. If you become successful at that, you don't find happiness really. You find the happiness that you're already having through these experiences. But true happiness is the absolute subsummation of all appearances into pure love, into the happiness of which they are made. When you see the absolute substance of happiness is what all things are made from, this whole pyramid stack collapses. You start to live in a way where happiness is already given. Now what do I want to do? Satisfaction is already a given. Now what do I want to do? It unleashes your power to be of benefit, because you begin to behave in a way that is of service. What would the person who has everything do? You are that person. You have everything. Everything is you. How can you not have everything if everything is you? How can you not have love if everything's made of love? How can you not have happiness if everything is made of happiness? And all you have to do to find this out is relax, little and often, until it becomes obvious. Just relax. There it is. It's the same as what they call the power of now, or resting as awareness in some schools, or being with the one, or knowing yourself as God. They're all saying the same thing. Relax, little and often till obvious. It becomes absolutely clear. Everything is already complete. Everything's already arrived. Nothing needs to be done. They are not your concern. The aspects of life are not your concern. They're not the concern of awareness. Awareness supports a finite self to create a life for yourself and loved ones. But this is a natural process. It's like the tree doesn't need a finite self to grow around the lintel of a house. It just does that. And this is how your activity becomes. It's like me filming this video. I've had a really interesting day today. It has no impact on my life. I won't even go into the details, but I'm just here like the lintel of the tree growing around the lintel. It becomes an easy way to be. They are not your concern. All that stuff you're thinking about in your mind, It's not your concern. Let it be. Recognize the love it's made from. Recognize the happiness it's made from. You neither do nor enjoy. So you don't do anything anyway. We go back to the screen metaphor. The actors appear to be doing loads of things, but at the end of the day, you leave the cinema and nothing was done. You watch a video where everyone's enjoying themselves on the movie. And when you leave the cinema, nobody enjoyed anything. This is not a negative. This is freedom. The enjoyment is in the enjoyment of knowing oneself. Once that's known, then everything becomes enjoyment. The problem with this way of thinking, the old way of thinking, where you believe you do and enjoy, is it's conditional and it doesn't last. Let's say you're enjoying the movie. There's no enjoyment happening, but you're enjoying the movie, and the movie, 20 minutes before the end, the projector breaks. And they say, sorry, we can't play this movie, and it was the last showing. And now you go home thinking, that was a load of nonsense, that wasted my money. I don't even know what happened in the end of the... Now you're not enjoying it. Right? What if you're a smoker and you go and watch a movie and you can't last 2 hours without smoking? That's not enjoyment. What if you're a binge eater or have food allergies and you go to the movie and you buy popcorn and the popcorn has something in it that you're allergic to and you get very sick? That's not enjoyment. The enjoyment isn't guaranteed. This individualized enjoyment that's sporadic and place and time bound is unreliable. We know it's unreliable. How many times have you had your expectations let down? So what's saying here is recognize that you awareness, not you finite self, you awareness, neither do nor enjoy. You're not doing anything. And what we're saying here is align with that. Align with your true nature. Align with your true self. Be the one that doesn't do or enjoy. Allow those appearances to shine forth in your everyday life. You don't have to become weird. You don't have to say to your friends, are you enjoying that movie? I neither do nor enjoy. Like, it's just stupid. This is what happens when you learn from books too much. I neither do nor enjoy. What are you doing later? I neither do nor enjoy. It's just weird, right? Tell them what you're going to do. Later on I'm going to go to a party and I think I'm really going to enjoy it, right? But it doesn't mean that you're bound to it. It doesn't mean that you're not living it as a reality. You could maybe not make it to the party. Your car breaks down on the way. Or you have an argument with the person running the party. Or you go to the party and you get there and it was amazing and everything went really well and it met all your expectations. Who cares about any of that? It is not your concern. Play in the theatre of life, but don't become the actor, right? Don't believe in the stage. Know that it's being created by the set designer of your own mind. Playful, joyful, freedom, loving. You're able to be stable in all circumstances when you live this way, because you go to this party and it's an absolute, the whole world gets done in and you get a lockdown at the party for 6 months. Like a more extreme lockdown, and you're stuck in that house now for 6 months. You will be the one who's free. You will be the one that can support the others to be free, because you was never invested in the fiction that the enjoyment comes from the activity of doing. You was never invested in that. So when it goes wrong, you're unaffected by it. You are free. That's the final line. This is just 4 lines, right? I love this. You are free. And that is what freedom means. Freedom means that you are free of the bounds of conventional life that you must do to be happy, and you must do in a certain way, and you must do it rightly and avoid wrongness, and you must find pleasure and avoid pain. And these things exist. They don't. They don't. We can go really deep into the existence of pleasure and pain, into the sensations themselves. The difference between pleasure and pain as a sensation is extremely similar, but there is a mind that tells you they are different. And the reason why the mind has that power in those circumstances is because that is where they exist. But when you rest as awareness, which is mind, you see they have no power over you, who is the knower of them. So pain can affect your finite self, but your finite self is an appearance within consciousness, just as pain is. But you are neither of those. You are the knower of consciousness. As it said in here in a previous chapter, you are the witness of them. So we turn pain up to 10. The finite self is in excruciating pain. You are not the finite self. Even if your face grimaces, this is just an appearance here and now. The knower of it never grimaces. So this can be quite a bit confusing for people, because when they hurt themselves, they expect they shouldn't grimace. They should be like, wow. Or if they're wanting pleasure, they shouldn't be yearning. Yes, the pleasure is occurring in the mind, or the pain is occurring in the mind. The grimace is occurring as an appearance of consciousness within the mind. The desire, the urge, the sensations to want are also occurring within the same field. It doesn't mean your body stops functioning and reacting to pleasure and pain. Of course it does. Without these things, you would find yourself walking into fires, or never eating, or making love and procreating. They are all there for a purpose. But at your discretion, when you choose to, as the knower of awareness, the vast expanse of pure knowing, you can live there and be free from these afflictions. Because pleasure and pain are ultimately afflictions. But you have the choice. You can choose to be fully involved or completely free. I think that's enough for today. I really enjoyed that. I hope you did. And I was going to say, ask me any questions you have. I'm not quite sure how I will do that. We will see. For now, we'll just say good evening. Thank you for joining me. And one last reading before you go. Right and wrong, pleasure and pain exist in the mind only. They are not your concern. You neither do nor enjoy. You are free.